Hey everybody, I'm Andy Brady with the Easily Amused channel, and this is my Sunday show, Little Bits of Awesome, where we try to spend between 10 and 20 minutes just talking about little bits of awesome, little things that are neat, whether it's gadgets, things you can do yourself, projects, maybe we tell stories, whatever it might be. Hopefully you find that it's something you like. If you've watched more than one of our videos, my videos, please give it a like and subscribe so that you can be notified the next time that we do a video. This video is completely uncut and unedited. I've planned it that way. It is just a sit-down conversation between you and me to really kind of, talk about things that are awesome. All right, so let's get right into it. First thing that I typically like to do whenever doing one of these episodes is we start with a spirit or we start with a cocktail. Today I'm going to start with Jefferson's Ocean. Not using a nosing glass or anything special like that today. In fact, I'm using a Woodford Reserve leather-wrapped glass. There's a company called Bourbonware that makes these leather-wrapped glasses for so many different distilleries, so it's a really fun thing to collect. They're a bit overpriced, but I really like them. They feel very nice in the hand. They don't get too cold. They don't really sweat. But I want to talk about the Jefferson's Ocean a little bit, because there's a lot of misunderstanding about what makes this product special. And it is special. It is very special. So, there's been a lot of efforts over the years to try to find a way to rapidly age a spirit, right? If you tasted a spirit that was only 3 years old, but it tasted exactly like a 12-year-old spirit, would you really be upset in the grand scheme of things? Probably not. Now, with bourbon, for example, if it is not at least 4 years old, they have to put the date on it. If it is a blend like this, blend of straight bourbon whiskeys, and they've got a 4-year, an 8-year, and a 12-year, they have to declare that the spirit is 4 years old, right? So they have to put the youngest year of what is in the product anytime it's a blend. The exception to that, again, is outside of 4 years, they no longer have to do that. If it's at least 2 years old, they can call it straight bourbon. And at 5 years, if it's the right proof, they can call it bottled in bond. Jefferson's Ocean stumbled upon something pretty interesting. They found that the hotter the temperature got in the barrel, and then the colder the temperature that it got in the barrel, which is something people have known for centuries, the better that the extraction of flavor from the barrel worked, and the better that the higher alcohols, the esters, the things that you don't want to taste in your alcohol were more available to leave the alcohol. And they found putting it in shipping containers. And just doing that alone, the shipping container would get extremely hot during the day, extremely cold at night, depending on where it is. But then they took it one step further, and they call it aged at sea. And there's a lot of lovers and a lot of haters out there of this product. People think it's overpriced. People think that it's just not worth what they're charging. But the idea is with it sloshing back and forth inside of the bottle, you are getting a little bit more aeration. You're forcing some of those higher alcohols to actually evaporate a little bit more readily and then out to sea in the sun, that shipping container is going to get pretty hot. And then at night, out to sea, that shipping container is going to cool down quite a lot. So it's going to get that alcohol to go into the barrel and back out of the barrel, into the barrel and back out of the barrel. And it's been going through a charred oak barrel. So essentially a barrel that's lined in charcoal. So it's going to help to filter out some of the bad flavors as well. And the deeper it gets into the wood and the more that it pulls back into the barrel, it's actually going to bring the flavors, the tannins, the color, the vanilla, and things like that from the barrel as well. So a little bit too much information on our spirit today, but I find it to be a very unusual product. It definitely has its own taste, its own flavor. Don't disregard it too quick just because your bourbon buddy told you that it was a hoax, it was a scam, it just wasn't worth trying or paying for. Give it a try. You might be very surprised. I know I was. So let's get into some of the items that we got for us today. One of the first items I want to talk about is tools and tool batteries. I was a diehard Bosch fan for many, many years, but when I had to replace all my tools for work very recently, which is why some of them look so new, I didn't find Bosch to be of the quality that I had known it to be so many years ago with the tools that lasted me so many years. And I decided to go all out and get the Milwaukee Fuel. There's a huge ecosystem of things that the Milwaukee Fuel will work with. I mean, there is just an absolute metric ton of things that you can find that this battery can power. But there's a problem behind that. Milwaukee is one of the best of the best. Whether you think it's the best or not, I don't really care. It is one of the best of the products. And with that comes a pretty hefty price tag. So when they've got this huge selection of all these individual tools, you're probably not going to buy most of them. I'll give you a perfect example. All right, let's compare it against Ryobi. Ryobi is definitely a homeowner's tool. It is a lighter use tool. It is not made to be thrown in the back of your tool bag. Now, there's lots of people who will argue in the comments and they'll tell you that they've got Ryobi that lasts perfect. That's fantastic. I'm glad you're able to save some money and make it work. But there's a lot of people who are going to put their tools through so much stuff that they have broken tools like Ryobi and Ridgid and things like that before. But at the same time, there's a Milwaukee fan that you can plug this battery into, and it's about $140. Yet there's a Ryobi fan that's about the same size. It's a little bit louder, when looking and comparing decibels, but it's $39 if you get the tool only. But a lot of people, myself included, I don't want to end up with, multiple tool systems and multiple different battery systems. And now I've got so many chargers lying around. So I took a little bit of a risk and I bought this product right here. Very simple. It takes an 18-volt Milwaukee. And they make this for lots of things, not just Milwaukee. They make it for, DeWalt, for Ridgid, for other things that will let it adapt to another tool. I can now slap this up inside of a Ryobi tool and get the amazing battery that Milwaukee has, because it really is an amazing battery, and get it with the form factor of whatever Ryobi tool that I bought. Another perfect example of it, Ryobi makes a cordless hot glue gun, right, which I find very useful. I've not purchased one yet, but I find it to be a very intriguing idea. It's a docking station. It goes on there, the hot glue. I use hot glue for a lot of different projects, especially if I'm temporarily gluing something to see how I like it before maybe I screw it together and put on a more permanent glue. It's $19.99. I don't know if Milwaukee makes one, but if they did, I guarantee it'd be $99.99. And are you going to use it enough to be worth $99? Same with the job site fan. Are you going to use it enough that the Milwaukee fan is that much more valuable to you? Or maybe you would like to have 3 of the Ryobi fans for the same price, slap in some of your Milwaukee batteries. That way you don't have to have multiple battery systems, and away you go. So I use this quite a lot. I bought the battery-powered pressure washer from Ryobi. It's a 600 PSI, and it will feed straight from a 2-liter bottle, or it'll pull straight from a bucket, or you can hook it up to a hose. I find it just to be a wonderful product for so many different things, from around-the-house tasks to on-job site tasks. But their batteries just don't hold up. So being able to take the Milwaukee battery, slam it in there, and use it has been fantastic. And in fact, it keeps me in the loop of the Ryobi tools because I could potentially use them. Now, something to bear in mind, not all Milwaukee batteries are built the same. So this is a 2 amp hour. This one is a 3 amp hour. And something you'll notice is not only is it taller, it is much wider as well. So depending on the tool that you're putting it in, it might be important to know that once you slap this on there, is it going to fit? So for example, if they had something where the battery has to go all the way into a unit, the wider battery might not fit, especially when we start getting up into the monsters, the 8 amp hour battery. I mean, this thing, that's massive. You can't even get anything as good and reliable as this in the Ryobi brand, but will it work with the tool that you're using? So depending on the type of tools you have, if all you buy from Milwaukee is the battery-powered leaf blowers and weed eaters, and they come with this monster battery, this might not work for you. So it's definitely worth looking into before you go all in. I believe that this was under $20. I'll find the link to the one that I purchased on Amazon, and I'll put the link to it below because I've used this extensively and I've had 0 issues whatsoever with it. So I feel like I can stand behind it, which is a good time and a good place for me to say that any links in the description to Amazon, of course, just like anybody on YouTube, anybody on the internet, anyone with a website, I do get a small commission on it. So if you buy a $19 or $20, whatever it is, battery adapter, they might give me 25, 40 cents. I don't even know what the commission is, but it's not much. But if you're thinking about buying it, please use the link below. That'd be fantastic. Let's move right along. Let's move into a knife. I like to cover knives, especially if somebody's on a job site or they use it in their day-to-day life. I own a lot of pocket knives. It's just something that I find nice to collect, even though most of them end up sitting in a drawer or on a shelf. I find the quality and the craftsmanship in a knife is just something that it can be admired. It's like whenever you pick up something that's really well made, you can admire it. So this next item, I bought it with extremely high hopes, and I did like it, and I used it for a very long time. I do not still carry it because I found something else that I liked more, but for a lot of people, this will be a perfect item. This is SOG, is the name of the manufacturer of this one. You can see it is ridiculously thin. So the reason that I bought this is because I assumed, it's actually called the Slim Jim, that's how slim it is. I assumed that having this and then putting on a suit and being able to slide this down in the pocket, that it would take up less room. It'd be less bulky, it'd be less heavy, it wouldn't pull the pocket down, and I was absolutely right, it did. The thing that really threw it off for me is I'm not a fan of spring-assisted knives. Many of you are. That's why I said this might be a perfect knife for many of you out there. I've recommended this knife to quite a few people who've got it, who have just fallen in love with it. But again, for me, it kind of comes back to that spring assist. It's never quite as reliable unless you spend an exorbitant amount of money on a knife, which I'm not opposed to either, because a good knife is worth it. So my only two holdups is, see, there you go. So the spring assist did not open it all the way. And chances are it just needs to be cleaned. It probably has some pocket lint in there. But if I'm looking to use my knife and I go to spring it open and it doesn't open, it's very frustrating to me. I want my things to work. And spring assist for me, and maybe I'm just afraid of new technology, it seems to not be as reliable as just manpower flicking it open. My other complaint is I'm never really a fan of the unlock on the ridge. Now, of course, you can, there's ways of closing it up against your leg or up against a wall or up against a door. Did it again. Up against a desk. But I've never really been a big fan of that because I feel it's more safe to do two-handed. But again, a lot of you out there might prefer this to the system where you put your thumb right here, the thumb release, and then fold it, because you're kind of putting your finger in front of the blade. So I know some people are uncomfortable with that who might prefer this. Again, it can be done one-handed. It takes a little practice and a little getting used to, but it really is a very nice, very well-made knife. I carried it for a very long time, and the main reason I stopped is the spring assist started, locking up on me. And like I said, if I threw it in the dishwasher, which I'm sure is sacrilege, if I threw it in the dishwasher, got it back out, cleaned it out, put some graphite on the hinge and on the action and everything, it would probably be good as new, and maybe I'd fall back in love with it. I don't know. In fact, now I'm feeling like that's something I need to try. This might go back into my daily rotation just so I can give it a chance. All right. Oh, I forgot I had whiskey. How did I do that? It really is a fantastic pour. It is definitely worth a try. If you're hesitant to do it, if you're hesitant to do it, find somebody who already has a bottle open. It's not one of these, rare to find bottles that you just can't find. It's usually readily available in the store, unless, of course, you're in Virginia, like I am, where almost all alcohol is it's hard to find any of them. They've got these stupid lotteries and things. I digress. Most people can find it pretty readily available. So while talking about alcohol, let's get into this next product. This is the Backtrack S80. I'm going to use it, but I did just drink some alcohol, so it's going to throw it off. But this is a pretty neat system. You hold down the power button, it turns on, and then it counts down from 5 to 12, depending on the temperature, a lot of different things. It's getting the sensor ready. Then it beeps at you when you blow into it until it stops beeping, and I'm about to do that. Now, it specifically tells you to wait 10 minutes since you have drank any alcohol, any water, any other liquids, or eaten any food. Because if you have alcohol still on the palate in your mouth, it will throw this number way, way off. So if I see a number on here that just says I should be laying in a hospital bed, I would not be that surprised, because I literally just took a sample. I might even get an error code from it. 0.33. I mean, I'd literally be dead. Wow, 0.33. Literally would be dead. But having this in your vehicle, apparently it is very safe to have in a vehicle that gets very hot, gets very cold. As long as the batteries can survive, it can survive. It has 2 AA batteries. I find it to be an extremely useful tool to have, because if you drink alcohol, you know sometimes it can creep up on you. You know sometimes that you had 2 drinks later to find out, oh, wait a minute, I actually had 4. It's just I was here so long, whatever might happen. Very good tool before you put yourself and others in danger, that you can just pull this out of your center console, blow into it, and be good. The last thing any of us want is to injure somebody, ourselves, our family, our friends, strangers, destroy buildings, whatever it might be. Wrecking a car because you've been drinking too much is just not acceptable in this day and age, especially whenever you can buy something like this and you can make sure that you're not just going off of the fact that, well, I walked straight, I'm good to go. No, you can get some empirical evidence, some empirical data that says I'm good to go, I'm at my comfort level before you decide to drive or do anything else. Another hidden benefit to this, I've been told by a couple people that own them, is that they take a medicine that interacts with alcohol pretty badly. So if they've had a late night, they had a party the night before, they wake up in the morning, it's time to take their medicine. What is their alcohol content in the morning? Their blood alcohol content. So they'll actually use this device. They'll check their blood alcohol content. And if they see alcohol on it, they'll wait to take their medicine, a couple hours later, maybe with lunch instead of first thing in the morning. And that's saved them some problems where, medicine interactions could happen with alcohol as well. I'm actually a distiller, and they are extremely strict on the rules of distillers. For example, in Virginia, having a DUI pretty much avoids you from being able to distill alcohol and own a distillery. So, that's another thing for me specifically. Nowadays, now that I'm in a distillery, I do not drink and drive. I'll let my wife, drive. It doesn't matter if it's been one cocktail. I just don't do it because I can't risk losing a business over that. But again, the Backtrack S80, I'm sure there's newer versions. I've had this for a couple of years. Still seems to be very reliable. Fantastic little device. A one-time purchase, the kind of thing you can have. And let's be honest, it's kind of fun to play some party games. Who can get the closest to 0.05. It's not too drunk to where you're being irresponsible, and it's not, too sober where you're not having any fun. Who can get it exactly to 0.05? You know what I mean? It's maybe that's just my idea of fun. Let's move into some 3D printed items. This is an item I found when I first started 3D printing, and I didn't know what I was doing, yet I still was able to print it, so I'm pretty happy about that. This device prints straight up and down like this. It's a hollow tube, and it's got a track in here, and the track holds this. This slides in and out of it. So what's it for? Well, if you look closely, those are hex bits. So when you got a tool bag that is completely full of hex bits and they're sliding and falling everywhere, right? Printing a couple of these is a great, very cheap, probably cost 15 cents to print this, if even that, honestly. And now I have storage that I can throw into my tool bag, and I know what I'm looking at and know what I'm grabbing. You'll notice I have electrical tape taped on this one. I don't have it on this one because I don't actually use this one. I printed way too many of them. I gave them away to friends, family, stuff like that, just for free. This one tells me that it's not Phillips or Flathead, because it's black wrapped. That's it. That's the only reason that I have it wrapped in black electrical tape. I have one of them that's wrapped in red electrical tape, and it's full of Phillips and Flatheads. Whereas this one's got Star, it's got Allen, it's got Square. And so, when I'm reaching into my bag, I don't have to get it out and look at it and be like, oh crap, I grabbed the wrong one. So very quick, very easy print. I think that some of the most amateur, you can actually see, I printed this so long ago. There's still stuff on it where I didn't even know to clean it, I guess, or I was lazy. I don't know what it was. But even super amateurs can print something like this. Great gift. I gave a couple of them to my father, who does the same thing. He uses them in his workshop. He's got a woodworking shop, and he leaves them in there. That way those bits are organized, not just thrown in a bucket, and now you got to sort through them. I actually take the time to sort them from smallest to biggest. Why not? It only takes a minute the first time you do it, and then whenever you actually need a bit, it's right where you thought it was. So 3D printed object. I always like to talk about these a little bit, even though I know most of the people watching these videos probably don't have 3D printers, but if you know somebody that has one, chances are they run out of things to print. So you go on a place like printables.com or thingiverse.com and you find something like this and you're like, man, this is really cool. You send a link to your buddy and you say, hey, how much would you charge me to print something like this? Knowing it only cost him 15 cents. If he says, hey, I'll print you a couple of them for, 5 of them for $15. That's a heck of a deal for an item that if you bought from Lowe's would cost much more, bought it from Home Depot would cost much more. And you know, that person with a 3D printer, they get to make a couple bucks, which they'll be extremely excited about. Or if their printer's not really even running that often because they just don't have anything else to print, they'll be happy to have something else to do on it. So whenever I talk about a 3D printed object, even if you don't have a 3D printer, if you know somebody that does, it's definitely something worth looking out for. The last item that I want to talk about today, I keep forgetting that I've got this fantastic whiskey. The last item I want to talk about today is from a brand called Olight. It is a flashlight. It is a very simple, very basic flashlight. There's many manufacturers that make lights like this. Olight, in my opinion, is hit or miss. They've got some items that I just think are fantastic, and they've got some items that I'm just like, what were you thinking when you made this? I personally own a couple Picatinny rail lights and lasers and light laser combos that are made by Olight, forward grips that automatically turn on a flashlight that are made by Olight. I've been very happy with those. They magnetically charge, so you don't have to replace batteries. So they do make good stuff. But this flashlight right here, it was actually free. It wasn't free because I'm going to talk about it on video. I don't have any sponsors or anything like that. During their Black Friday sale, I ordered 2 flashlights from them, and they sent me 2 flashlights for free, which was pretty awesome. I do not know the price of this one because it was free, but I will find it and I'll put it in the description below. This one takes a AAA battery, which in my opinion is very wasteful. I'd much rather be able to charge a battery. But there's something to say about being able to buy a box of AAA batteries from Big Lots and have them next to the flashlight and literally have an endless supply of light at your fingertips. This thing is extremely small. It is appropriately sized to go on a keychain. It is a twist to turn on. It is actually pretty bright. Surprisingly bright, actually, for how small it is and the fact that it's just using a AAA battery. I've had AAA battery flashlights before that only used 1 battery, and I was never really that impressed with it. I plan to buy a couple more of these. I'd like to keep them in vehicles. I'd like to put it in my toolbox as a backup flashlight for, you know, inspections. I would like my wife to have one hooked to her keychain, so when she's walking out to the vehicle at night, she can just turn this on, or she's looking for something. A big mistake I think we all make is using our phone flashlight. You buy an iPhone, you buy an Android, whatever it might be, you spend $1,400 on it, and then it's pouring down rain, you drop your keys, and what do? You pull out your $1,400 flashlight to look for your keys, which if you're lucky is 50 lumens. So it's not even going to be that bright. It doesn't throw the light very far. I'm guessing this is $19, maybe even less. Start carrying a flashlight and stop using your phone for a flashlight. It is not a Swiss Army knife. It is a $800, $1,400, $2,000 investment that if you drop and break, was it worth it? Or this teeny tiny little thing, could it just be in your pocket at all times? I personally carry a Coast light that I keep in my pocket all the time. I'll talk about this at a later point. But again, very small, light, slim. Once you get used to carrying it, you'll never use your phone flashlight again. And then next thing you know, everyone around you will be like, hey, can I borrow your flashlight? Because they will find times that they need it. So, you know, can't stress enough, stop using your cell phone when you can buy something this small to replace the light on your cell phone. That is it for the Gidgets and Gadgets and other things that I have for today. I hope everyone will, comment. Let me know. What do you think about Jefferson's Ocean? Have you used something like this? And how do you feel about it? Did you have any trouble with it? Did it work right all the time? I've not put in enough hours to know if it's going to last me a year or so, but I do know that it was inexpensive enough that I probably don't care if it didn't last me, a couple years, especially with the use that I'll get out of it. But hop in on those comments. Let me know what you think. Am I completely wrong about something here? Something I say here just strike a nerve with you, positive or negative? Is there something, funny that I said that you're interested in, or just start a communication conversation? Also, if there's anything you think that I should take a look into that you think that I would like to have that might end up on a video, please put it in the comments. Let the other people know. If you think this is the bad idea and you've got a better one to recommend, please put it in the comments. Let the people watching this video see a little interaction and maybe find something good from you that you stand behind that works well for you. So again, Andy Brady with the Easily Amused channel. It is Sunday, so this is Little Bits of Awesome, and I hope to see you again next Sunday. Thank you for watching.